me, Jason Dempsey talked about taking his team to Uganda, which is really cool. I've never been to Uganda, but I do the kind of user research and design he's talking about. But I didn't always start in that world. When I began working, I considered myself an IT geek, really geeky. And then I became a UX designer. How did I do that? Well, the first thing to know is I didn't take a traditional path. A lot of UX designers come through visual design. I am not an artist. This is my level of drawing skill, but that's okay. How did I get here? So I started, like I said, back in the day, reel tapes and Nobel Network 3.12 and a lot of really old technology you guys don't care about these days. But it was fun. I loved getting in and figuring out what to do, and I loved helping people figure out how to do what they needed to do with the software. But I wasn't spending a lot of my personal time actually reading about technology or learning about it. I was more interested in how did people think about things? How did people interact with each other? How did people design things? I looked at the world around me and I said, there's some weird design choices being made. This bathroom has the towels a long way from the sinks, but the wastebaskets are right next to the sinks. What happened there? How did that change? So I started to look a little bit differently at technology and how people used it. I ended up working on some projects where we made some big changes, where we went from like mainframe-based systems to client-server systems, which was the old term for what's now the cloud. Like, the same things keep coming around. When you introduce a new system, there's a lot of change that people have to do to how they do their work, and they really hate it. They're like, I'm just trying to pay people or catalog books. I don't want to have to learn a whole new workflow for that. So I said, you know, they're right. Why should I have to spend all this time trying to help people understand how to change the work they're doing when they know perfectly well what needs to be done? What I really felt we needed to do was I needed to find a way to build software that did what the people needed, that did what they were actually trying to do in their jobs, and just let the software get out of their way. So, in order to do that, I went to grad school, right? That's what you do for anything. You go to grad school. And I spent a couple years away from technology. I spent a lot of time with paper and Post-it notes. I learned about a technique called ethnography, where you get in and you dive in and you watch people work. You talk to them about what they're trying to accomplish. You don't always listen to them tell you what they need, because what they need is based on what they already know. But you listen to them talk about their goals and what they're trying to do. And I said, I think I can do this. I think I can help make tools that lets people work together, right? Like, people work because they're trying to get something done. And they want to do it in the way that's comfortable for them, in the way they've figured out techniques and communication methods and all of these things, right? People want to think about what they're trying to do, whether it's building an airplane, building an airport, making, a school a better place for students. Like, there's so many different things people can do, and they just want the software to get out of their way. So really, this is a product I work on now. It's a long time ago that it was first created. It doesn't come on floppy disks anymore, but it's got a UI that's kind of old, and I'm working on making it something that gets out of people's way instead of having to remember all these old style commands. So what I do now in my work, I spend a lot of time talking to people about what they're really trying to accomplish. Like right now, one of the projects I'm working on is about installing software. People don't want to spend their time installing software, right? They want to do other things. So I spend a lot of time in regular meetings explaining to developers how people don't really want to think about installing software. But sometimes, when I'm not working on that kind of project, I get to do some really interesting things and go out into environments where people are doing real work, like building buildings. I got to tour a building that was in progress, and that was really cool. And what always inspires me is when I'm listening to people talk about what they're trying to do. People do so many interesting things in their jobs. Like, there's a whole world of jobs out there that are really fabulous. And so one of the things I love about my work now is that I'm actually creating software that helps people design and create other things, like real things in the world. And that's so awesome, because I said, I'm not an artist, but at least I know that I'm enabling other people to do that. One of the things I've found that people always talk to me, there's a natural human desire to make things and change the world. And I'm so happy that I get to learn about how people want to do these things and create tools that help them do that. And so I get to work with awesome teams of people who spend a lot of time with Post-it notes trying to write down and understand all the things that people are trying to do. and figure out how we can make software that just gets out of their way and lets them make the world a better place. So that's what I do. I'm user experience architect, and I love my job.